And we are back, and we've just finished 1941's Suspicion. This is rated approved with a runtime of 1 hour and 39 minutes. This comes to us from director Alfred Hitchcock with writing credits to Samson Raphaelson, Joan Harrison, Alma Reville, and according to the IMDb blurb, it says, a young, shy heiress marries a charming gentleman and soon begins to suspect he is planning to murder her. This stars Cary Grant as Johnnie and the Academy Award-winning Joan Fontaine as Lina, the shy young heiress. This is your first time watching it. What did you think of the film?
I thought it was really good. I enjoyed it. It's interesting seeing Cary Grant play this sort of
ne'er-do-well.
Because he's such a personable character, but you could tell there's something shady about him.
Yes, for sure.
And that carries throughout the entire movie. Even by the end, with it's clearly got like a slapped on Hollywood ending.
Oh, terrible, right? Up until the end, it's like a really good film, right?
Yeah, they should have like done away with that last scene. From what we've read, it wasn't supposed to be like that. Even Hitchcock, the director, he was pissed. He was pissed that they forced him with that ending. And I think it said that for future films, like he was so mad about it that in contracts he was basically like, you can't do that anymore. You can't force me. But even with that slapped on Hollywood ending, you still don't know for certain. It's kind of ambiguous. They seem to be leaving it off where Johnnie and Lina are reconciled and in love, and there is no need for suspicion. But after everything we've seen, yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah. And to your point, I think the ending that was originally the ending would have worked way better. Do you want to tell our listeners?
The original plan was that Johnnie does indeed poison Lina. And knowing that she has been poisoned, she writes a letter to her mother. And after she passes away, or after Lina dies, Johnnie himself, not having read the letter, puts it in the mail for it to be delivered.
Right. And that
would have been the ending.
Right. And then in this tacked on ending, they're in a car and he's driving like a lunatic, and she tells him stuff, and then he says that he's not who it thinks that he is. And then they reconcile, and she's like, oh, we can have another, I forgot what she said. We can have another go at it or whatever.
Yeah, something like that.
And
it happens like right after she almost falls out of the car.
Yes.
On the cliff, and
yes.
it almost looks like
push her.
Exactly, it looks like he's going to push her, but they sort of like manhandle that into, no, I was trying to hold on to you and close the door.
Right, which is suspect.
It's just yeah. After everything you've seen, yeah.
And he is a silver-tongued devil. I mean, he has an excuse and a rationale for everything that happens.
I mean, he's Cary Grant.
Fair.
Like charm personified.
Fair. He is charm personified. But his whole explanation of what happened with Beaky, I'm like,
yeah.
Who are you trying to kid?
Yeah. Yeah, it's the thing. You don't know, was he Beaky died in France, right?
Right.
Did he go to France with Beaky? Did he actually kill Beaky? I don't know.
Nobody will know.
That was the thing that was nice about the film, was it really kept you guessing.
And it kept ratcheting up the tension. And as a viewer, you're also invested, right? Because you went into this not thinking that you were going to like it at all, right?
It wasn't something that piqued my interest. But I do like films like this where they do keep you guessing, and this one was really well done up until the very final bit. But prior to that, it was clearly like, oh my God, is this really is he going to kill her? Are her suspicions justified? And for me, it was like, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
He is a schemer.
Yes.
But every time it seemed like a scheme was about to come to fruition, it turned out to be no. He was, I wasn't going to push Beaky off the cliff. I saved his life, in fact.
Right.
Things of that nature, yeah.
He had a reason. I forgot what it was. There was like a reason why he was no longer at his job.
Yeah, he got fired.
Because he was taking money.
Yeah.
And then he never discloses any of that to her. She finds out in a very sort of embarrassing way that he's no longer there.
And the funny
he's
thing,
just been going to the races.
Yeah, and the funny thing is apparently he's so charming that the guy that he basically stole money from is just like, well, I've given him a chance to pay it back.
Right.
Rather than just,
I'm calling the police.
I'm calling
right
the
now.
police, having you arrested. It's just like, it's Johnny. Even that was like Beaky's reasoning for all the bad stuff that Johnny did was, it's Johnny. that was literally the excuse.
It reminded me. I don't know if you remember. What was I forget the actress, the one in Living Color, the white blonde who always did like this. She would do these skits where she was like a 40s heroine and she'd be like Johnny kind of thing. And
I know the actress
laugh.
you're talking about.
Yeah.
I can't remember her name.
Yeah,
though.
same. But like they would do these little skits and they were always kind of funny because it was very much like this, just amped up like to 50, right? Yeah, I mean, this is one of my favorite Hitchcock films. I completely understand why he's not happy with it. The ending is a cop-out, absolutely, without a doubt.
Yeah.
It would have played better if he went through with it. And
and apparently that's how it was in the original story that this film was based on. She gets killed by the husband.
It's interesting, though, to sort of, if we want to just deep dive on this a little bit, how the studio system was so, I mean, not that studios don't have a lot of pull and say now, but back then, like, you could not do anything without the studio's okay.
Yeah. I mean, they owned the actors.
Yes.
We were
like
always joking
slavery,
that,
basically.
we're always joking about how
Julie Garland
was basically just in a kennel cage until they
they would let her out.
We need somebody to sing in this movie. Well, Garland's in her cage.
But
and then
I
they
don't
would
think
rent.
We're
They would
offer the truth on that.
And then they would like sort of like rent the actors out to other studios, and you'd see that in the production cards. It would be like, and with permission from RKO Studios.
Right? Yeah. So it was like weird because it really was like, I mean, obviously they're living great lives as movie stars, but it is a form of slavery. You know what I mean?
For some of them, especially the stories you hear about Judy Garland. Like she was,
those are heartbreaking.
Like she had just given birth or something. It was just like, all right, 2 days and back on the set.
Right. So she doesn't even have time to bond with her baby or just physically recoup. Yeah, she's just, you've signed a contract where you owe us 1,000 hours.
Yeah, just gave birth. All right, time for the tap dancing scene.
Right, exactly. So it's interesting that the studio was so invested in the persona of Cary Grant that they would not let this director make this film and tarnish that image in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate because I personally love when actors play against the grain. So just as an example, we talk about like Chris Evans. He is Captain America, right? For all intents purposes now. But when he does sort of like kind of morally bankrupt characters
like Ransom and
Ransom in Knives Out, or the guy he played in The Gray Man, stuff like that. Like he's just deliciously bad, and it's nice to see an actor that you assume is one way play against that type, because I think it lends more. It definitely challenges the actor, right? And it makes things more interesting because it's like, here's this guy that you assume is like pure Americana, family values, whatever, but now he's doing like bad stuff over here. So you're, as an audience, you're like, wait a minute, but you're Captain America. You can't be doing this stuff.
Yeah, and I think it's especially interesting when it's the person who's usually typecast as being a good guy suddenly typecast as being the bad guy.
Yes.
It doesn't work so much the opposite way because it's sort of almost always used as like a gag. Like it's like, oh my God, it's Danny Trejo. And then suddenly he's like, and I've got cookies.
Yes. But
that's
even when he's like a good
gag.
guy, he's still menacing, like in those Harold and Kumar movies. He's Maria's dad. It's like, you're still scared of him.
Yeah.
He's like Elaine's dad. I'm frightened. And I want to go home. But here it's unfortunate because it really hurts the story. It's a disservice to the actor who can obviously play that character, right? But it's a disservice more so to the story and to the audience in a way, because it's like, oh, you can't handle Cary Grant as the heavy. And that's just nonsense, right?
And the thing is, it almost feels a bit wasted because you're given this character throughout 90% of the runtime. And it's like, oh, he's already the heavy.
Right. Right,
even though he's charming as hell, and even though he has,
you're like, what is going on, Cary Grant?
Yeah, even though he's charming, even though he has an excuse for everything, even though everything seems to sort of like work out, it's like, oh, it's the worst case scenario, and then he suddenly shows up, and it's, oh, but it's you think this, but actually this happened, but you're still suspicious the entire time of this character, and then to just sort of like at the end have it just be like, well, your suspicions weren't warranted this entire time.
Right.
And now that's happily ever after. Whereas you could have just been like, yeah, I was right. I don't know. It just doesn't fit. It's suddenly like, oh, so I'm expected to believe that Cary Grant or Johnny is just going to be all straight arrow now. To me, it feels like I still feel suspicious about Johnny.
Right.
And now I don't get to see the finale. I don't get to see if Johnny is caught. I don't get to see if Lina gets killed or if she survives, because that ending has not actually happened. We're given just another reprieve from Johnny's potential wickedness.
Right. Agreed. So I think that, you cheat the audience because having the finality of Lina made her demise, but then that as an audience, you get to see the letter, right? So here's justice after the fact, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And I think it would have worked better, and I think it would have made the film. I mean, Hitchcock doesn't need any help from us, and this went on to do phenomenally well for the studios. It garnered Joan Fontaine a Best Actress award at the Oscars. So, I mean, it didn't ultimately hurt that much, but it would have been a better storytelling experience had they gone the darker route. And this is like the 40s, right? 41. So, I mean, film noir is a thing, right? I mean, not that she's the femme fatale, but you have him sort of being... He's sort of the femme fatale, right? Because he's the one orchestrating and manipulating situations throughout, to the point where you're in constant just anxiety of like, what is he up to now? This movie doesn't let up. And it's interesting because it starts off very slowly, the whole courtship. I mean, they're in love and married within 2 weeks, I think, right? And then it goes into married life and her settling in and just being Mrs. Johnnie Aysgarth or whatever. And then...
I mean, he buys a house with no money.
Right.
Because it's Johnny.
Right. Yeah. And then, like, little cracks start appearing, right? And then it goes from there. And it just doesn't let up. And it's all plausible. It's all within the realm of possibility that these things could potentially lead up to just very nefarious outcomes, right? And I think that Cary Grant is just gangbusters in this. I mean, you really believe him, and
I mean,
his charm and persona help amplify,
I think,
to your point, the wickedness of the character.
I think it's because not only is he has that sort of charm, but physically he's the largest guy in this movie. He can be physically intimidating. He's not some like skinny little sleazy con man sort of character. He's Cary Grant. There's definitely a sense of menace. Even with the charm, there's always that underlying sense of menace and this uncertainty of what he will do. The famous glowing milk scene, where he's sort of coming up the stairs with this tray, with this glass of milk that they made artificially glow because they're literally saying, "Is this the end?"
Right.
Is he finally going to make his move and give her poison? And we don't know. And it's not like he's like smiling chipperly as he goes. There's like a definite sense of menace, the way the film is lit, the fact that the milk is glowing.
Yes.
They definitely did a great job, or Hitchcock did a great job, because even with that ending, I think what they really wanted was 100% certainty that everything will be happy and okay. But Hitchcock did so much work making Johnny this threat that even with that happy ending, I am still freaking suspicious. And that's why I was saying, okay, they just drove off. I'm thinking they're driving off so Johnny can kill her off screen.
Yes, exactly. Because that is the only outcome.
Yeah.
Because you don't believe at all that Johnnie Aysgarth loves Lina at all.
No, this was always some sort of scheme. Everything with him was a scheme.
Right. I mean, when her father dies, he's sort of like put out that all they inherited was a painting.
Yeah, and he even like looks at the painting and he's like, "Well, I guess you won, General."
Yeah. So I'm glad you brought up the milk. Let's talk about the glowing milk. I think one of the geniuses of Hitchcock, which has been parodied and copied throughout the ages because he is a premier director and storyteller. I think he excelled at this whole idea of paranoia throughout his stories. I mean, you see it in something like Vertigo, which we talked about before. Or you see it in movies like Marnie. Just this constant state of agitation throughout. And you as an audience get swept up in it because it's filmed in a way where it's almost like you're part of the experience, right?
Yeah.
Or it always felt like to me.
And he was always he was good with MacGuffins.
Yes.
He liked his MacGuffin, like this glowing glass of milk, the money in Psycho. You're sort of misdirected. Your attention is drawn to something. So this way, while you're focusing on that, suddenly something completely out of left field is happening. And that's actually the thing that you should have been paying attention to. He's really good at that. And that also adds to the uncertainty because you don't know. It's like, it's just really well done. I've always appreciated that about his work.
Agreed. Again, to go back to the glowing milk, to your point, the MacGuffin, right? It's used in so many other filmmakers. You can see it in Truffaut's work. There's that really famous interview that he does with Hitchcock where they talk about filmmaking and stuff. You see it in Fincher's work. You see it in De Palma, even as current as Jordan Peele. Like all these filmmakers do this thing where they visually bring your eyes' attention to something in the screen that may or may not mean something else.
Or it's something that's just been given importance, that it's given importance by you. He's made you want to feel like this thing is going to be more relevant or more integral to the story. Yeah, there's lots of examples. The briefcase in Pulp Fiction.
Yes.
I mean, that's probably the most glaring because, and in a parallel, when they opened it, it would glow. I doubt there was anything glowing or radioactive in it. It was just an effect that basically was just like, wow, okay, there's some importance here.
This is another example of really well done visual storytelling. You're not getting exposition, guy. You're getting, this is what I want to draw your attention to. And now I'm instilling this sense of anxiety, of fear. Like, what is this? What does this glowing milk mean? What are the ramifications here? It's just a glass of milk, but there's something off about it. The glow that they achieved through having, what was it, a light bulb inside the glass?
Yeah, there was like a little light inside of it.
Yeah. So now you've ratcheted up the tension, not only for the character, because throughout the film, or at least when Lina starts putting it all together, Joan Fontaine's performance is electrifying. She is just terror the whole time, right? Because she doesn't know, like, oh my God, is my husband trying to kill me?
And another thing is she doesn't want to believe. Like, right. I believe that she really doesn't want to believe Johnny is capable of bad things, but there's just all of this evidence piling up around her that he's lying to me, he's deceiving me, but it's Johnny.
Right. Exactly. It's Cary Grant. How could Cary Grant be bad? What did you think of the character of Beaky, played by Nigel Bruce?
Beaky was kind of ridiculous because Beaky, when I keep saying it's Johnny, he's the guy who originated that. And Beaky can't keep his mouth shut. Like, for a guy who is so involved
all the time.
No. For someone who's trying to craft all of these sort of cons and deals and underhanded schemes to get by, to be friends with a guy like Beaky who just shows up and just blurts everything out. There was no secrets with Beaky.
No.
Beaky, he's like, oh, is that where you got that from? I thought you got it from the racetrack.
Right.
And, those chairs? I saw Johnny selling those chairs.
Yes.
It was just, geez, like, I don't understand why Johnny didn't just take Beaky aside and just be like, man, you got to shut the hell up.
Either that or pushed him off the ledge sooner.
Or pushed. Yeah, exactly.
After he conned Beaky into leaving all his fortune to him.
Like I'm honestly, if he killed Beaky, I would have been like, okay, yeah, I could see that.
So I think this is something that plays out continuously in other filmmakers. I mean, we did a mini deep dive, and I think Brian De Palma is probably the director most Hitchcockian adjacent, I guess, in his work. But not just De Palma. I mean, like Fincher, Kubrick, Christopher Nolan to an extent, like focusing on objects that may or may not mean something else, like the top at the end of Inception.
I think any director who wants to build a sense of dread or paranoia or uncertainty can learn a lot from Hitchcock, or has learned a lot from Hitchcock. Because, I mean, that was that guy's bread and butter.
Yeah. And he was the OG.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you went to a Hitchcock movie expecting that, and you'd get it. He definitely knew how to build suspense. I'm not going to say all his stuff is great.
Right.
The Birds exists, which
I don't mind that film. People are so crazy.
Tippi Hedren is too stupid to exist. And even that film tried to take her out, but somehow she managed to survive till the end.
Last girl standing.
Yeah. Not by any actions that she took. If she was left alone, the birds would have killed her in like the first 15 minutes. Those parrots in the shop would have murdered her. But yeah, Hitchcock is definitely the teacher.
Yes,
I would say
the master manipulator when it came to storytelling.
Exactly.
There was always that the misdirection, right?
The misdirection. I mean, because like back to the glass of milk, he didn't intend for it to be it's glowing because it's definitely poisoned. He just wanted the audience to wonder.
Yeah. Hold up.
Like, wait a minute. What's going on there? Why does that look so odd?
Right.
Because he could have just filmed Cary Grant walking up the stairs with a glass of milk, and it probably would have played the same because of everything else, the lighting, Cary Grant's expression, the situation that surrounds all of it. But the fact that he added that one little extra touch made you even more suspicious.
Suspicious, yes.
To the point where it was like, this is it. This is the moment. But it was like, no, it's not. There's more to come.
This did well for the studios. It was a projected budget of $1 million, which is a lot for 1941, but it wound up making 4.5. So at the end of the day, the audience has spoken, and they love their Cary Grant and their Joan Fontaine. And also Hitch, who's coming off of directing Rebecca. So he's in the beginning of his sort of dominion over these psychological thriller type movies. Anything you want to add?
No, not really. I would just say that even with the sort of sanitized ending that they gave it, that was forced upon it, it's still a good movie.
Yes.
It's still a very good movie.
It doesn't take away from the overall experience. It's gorgeous. The costuming is just top notch in here. Joan Fontaine she goes from the kind of mousy bookworm to this gorgeous new wife. And then she emerges as this just butterfly, right? And then now transformed by the power of love, right? Where's Huey Lewis when you need him? And then there's cracks, right? Because marriage it takes work and effort and compromise and sacrifice. And yet, what is Johnny really doing, right? You always have to wonder. Here's a man who is a professional layabout.
Yeah.
You don't know anything about him. He hobnobs with the rich, but we don't really get any information about him. So that's another layer to this mystery, right? Because we don't know anything about Johnny, ever. We know that he's charming and that he's handsome. That's about it. And that he's Lina's husband. The women are all over him at the beginning. And it seems like they're all trying to get their hooks on him, but he is laser focused on Lina. And I wonder why, because she doesn't even seem like the type of woman that would be in his orbit, right? And yet something about Lina, her fortune perhaps.
I think not only that, but that she was like a loner.
Yes.
She was by herself. She more interested in books than socializing or going to balls or having friends. She seemed to not even be friends with the other young girls.
Right.
So there's less of a chance other people influencing her when they're just like, Johnny did that and you're still there. Nobody's really saying that to her. Johnny gets her isolated. It's like, oh, look at this house. We're living here now. And it's just, he buys a house without having any sort of financial way of paying for it.
Right. Or to even speak to his spouse about it, right?
Yeah. So
and to
Lina
your point too, like an earlier example is when they go with that mother and her daughters to the church, and he pulls her back, and then they wind up not going to church and just going off, and he's like kissing her in the wind. Yeah,
she's a prime target. So she's a wealthy woman who's alone, and it's just like he's a wolf. He's a wolf, and she's a lone sheep on a hill.
For all intents and purposes, he is like a cult leader.
Yeah, because he's charming the hell out of everybody. But even though he charms the hell out of everybody, it seems like there are people who know, he's not really that great a guy.
What do you think? I mean, we talk about reboots and remakes. What do you think about a remake for Suspicion?
This could totally be remade. I mean, it probably has, and to some varying degree. I mean, there's been plenty of movies where a woman marries somebody, then the guy turns out to be a bum or murderer who's got ulterior motives. So they could totally remake this and hopefully use the proper ending.
Yes. Don't chintz out. That would have been more interesting. Okay. Anything else you want to add?
No. What would you give this one?
I think I would give this an 8.
8?
Yeah. I mean, it's not my favorite Hitchcock movie, but it is fun. It is entertaining. I think it does its job well. It is kind of an abrupt ending. I mean, I didn't know all of that before we watched the film, but I had seen this multiple times before, and the ending always seemed kind of tacked on and abrupt for me. But then finding out like why it was that way, it all made sense, right? So I guess you're a little bit more forgiving because basically Hitch's hands were tied. I mean, I'm sure if he had done this film later in his filmography, he would have had more of a say, and he would have gotten the dream ending that he wanted. But because it wasn't that, you're kind of stuck with this. I'm always curious why he wouldn't remake it. I mean, I feel like I was looking at Ozu's filmography the other day, and there were times where he made movies at the start of his career, and then he would remake them later. And so it's interesting to compare and contrast like the earlier versions of that film with the latter versions of that film and how they differ, how they're similar, what's extra, what isn't there from the previous viewings. So I was always curious why, if he was very vocal and adamant about his dislike of this particular filmmaking experience, why he wouldn't later on revisit this and make again the movie that he wanted to make.
Maybe he just didn't have the rights to the story.
Possibly.
Or maybe it's just something that he wasn't interested in doing. Some people it's like that was my past, and now I'm focused on my future.
Yeah. And I think he never there's sometimes you see directors that sort of go back to the same well, whether it's because of the fancy paycheck or whatever, but he definitely was like a one and done kind of guy. Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure, but obviously like a movie like Psycho was very profitable for the studios. I'm sure he got, even back in that time, like, hey, maybe we can revisit this. And I'm sure he was just like, no, I don't need to. The movie's already been made.
Yeah, I mean, he was like one of those Hollywood characters. Yes. I mean, there would be completely unrelated to film.
Yes,
it was just, it's Hitchcock. You know who this guy is? He hosted his own television show.
Right.
Alfred Hitchcock Presents with his little fancy silhouette. I mean, even after he died, that thing came back.
Yes.
I remember that was like a show on like Channel 4 or Channel 7 or something like that.
Well, I mean, he's, as a storyteller, as a filmmaker, he's so influential.
And he'd always put himself in his movies as like a little Easter
nice
egg.
Nod,
he was doing Easter eggs before Easter eggs existed.
Right? And now you have other filmmakers that do that as well.
Yeah, I think we just watched one recently. It was Sorry, Wrong Number.
Right. They said that the director was the guy sitting in the back.
Yeah.
Where Burt Lancaster's like, who's that guy with the glasses?
Yeah, he was the MacGuffin.
Yeah.
He made himself his own MacGuffin.
That's cool. And that movie also has a lot of shades of Hitchcockian storytelling.
Yeah. Litvak, right? That was
Anatole Litvak. Yes.
Yeah. All right, so you gave it what? An 8? I'd probably give it a 7.
7. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah,
I still I
would have given it an 8 if it had a more satisfying ending. But
yeah. I still like his latter films. Like obviously Vertigo, even though I know you think that's bad shit. Rear Window.
Rear Window's great. Yeah,
we should watch that with
Psycho.
The kids, actually. Yeah, I mean, I like a lot of his older stuff more. I mean, newer stuff more, but this doesn't disappoint. And again, like to your point, I think he creates this environment of paranoia throughout that really just doesn't stop, to the point where you as an audience are so invested, like, oh my God, is Lina going to be okay? So, and even with the cop-out ending, it's fine. It's fine. It could have been better, but it's fine. Like, I'm sure if it had the original ending, I would have given this film a 9. But because it has the cop-out ending, we deduct a point, and we're going to leave it at an 8. You say 7. Absolutely, though, if you are a lover of stories, go check out Alfred Hitchcock's Suspicion from 1941. You will not be disappointed. This is the Academy Award-winning performance from Joan Fontaine. And that's, if you want to go down a crazy rabbit hole, the sister rivalry between her and Olivia de Havilland is one for the books. Again, this is from director Alfred Hitchcock, with writing credits to Samson Raphaelson, Joan Harrison, and Alma Reville, who I think, wasn't that Hitch's wife?
No idea.
Yeah, she was married to Alfred Hitchcock. Yes, I thought so. Oh, I didn't know she had a writing credit. Okay. And again, stars the always fabulous Cary Grant and the luminescent Joan Fontaine. This movie is 84 years old. You can rent it on Prime, but you could probably find it on the internet somewhere for free.
Yeah.
So definitely get on that. And with that, we'll wrap it up. There is no suspicion here. Just please feel free to like, share, and subscribe, and leave us a comment and let us know what you think.
Mm-hmm.
Is Johnnie to be trusted? Will Lina survive another day? Tell us your thoughts in the comments. We'll wrap it up, and thanks again for listening. And with that, we'll bid you all a
good night.
Good night.